Heidi-ho, everyone! Gramasoda's here, and I'm back at it again with another video. Although this time, I'm not going to be talking about Marvel. Instead, I decided I'd be talking about YouTube. And my reasoning for this is that I've been noticing a lot of trends about YouTube recently, and they're not good. So I just wanted to rant about how I felt about them. Alright, let's get started. Since the early 1900s, technology has gathered mass influence over society, and as a consequence, companies have been forced to enter into a perpetual game of cat and mouse. In this game, the companies must catch consumers and ensnare them in an endless amount of advertisements in order to convince them that they need to buy their products. While at the same time, it is the consumer's job to try to ignore these advances from companies and find new ways to tune them out. This is similar to John Fiske's semiotic war scenario, which is described in John Story's textbook, Cultural Theory and Popular Culture. Fiske's scenario states that the financial economy, or businesses, is more supportive of the forces of incorporation and homogenization, while the cultural economy, or the people, is more accommodating to the forces of resistance and difference. This is the annoying little cat that both consumers and companies have to pay for that came with the advantage of advancing technology. While better technology is more convenient for consumers and allows them to more easily enjoy themselves, it is also more convenient for companies as it makes it much easier and cheaper for them to market products. And since new technology is addicting due to its nature of making life easier, as a consequence it forces consumers to become more involved with and invested in technology. Furthermore, the invasion of these technological mediums by companies as well also means that the more a consumer uses these handy gadgets, the more he or she comes into regular contact with these companies. And that is what the whole underlying problem of this cat and mouse game is. Consumers wish to have all of the convenience of having technology without all of the annoying consequences, such as dealing with pestering and unwanted advertisements. But regrettably, consumers cannot have it both ways. Either technology can be freely used by anyone, including companies, or free to no one at all. If consumers thus want less contact with greedy companies, they then need to have less contact with greedy, time-consuming gadgets. And this whole back-and-forth feud between consumers and companies has never been more relevant than it is today, because it is now that the most powerful technological medium to have ever existed, the internet, is starting to gain great power and popularity. And with that power and popularity comes great responsibility on the consumer's part, because the consumer needs to realize that while the internet is extremely useful, efficient, and productive, it is the most conducive medium yet for companies to be able to get in the way of the entertainment in order to sell something. That is the way it has always worked for every advancement in technology. As technology became more advanced, so do companies' abilities to market. More than a century ago, households contained no medium to allow for companies to advertise easily. Instead, companies had to sell products in person or via ads in print, both of which were quite easy to ignore. Then, when technology advanced to the radio, companies had a little more power to advertise to the average family, but they were still limited. TV then provided the biggest break that companies could ever ask for. Commercials could visually and audibly promote products right in people's homes, and families would sit through the commercials so that they wouldn't miss the show that was playing. For a while, TV reigned supreme for advertising, but now the internet has emerged and companies have even more power to market their products. Ads can be put almost anywhere on the internet, before a video, in a video, before a website, next to an article on a website, etc. Since the web is a non-physical space, anything is possible for advertising as long as the companies can think of it. But this concept of company penetration into the world of the wide web appears to be fairly foreign to the average internet user, and this is probably because for a long time web surfers have had the luxury of using the internet without much company interference. This is due to the fact that it has taken companies quite a while to figure out how to market to people on the web, and how to transition from the world of TV commercials to the world of web ads. To be fair, companies have been accustomed to creating TV commercials for years, and have by this time pretty much mastered it. In most cases. So, it is a huge leap for the companies to make, since advertising on the web takes a completely different mindset and requires different skills than TV. But as the amount of people who rely on the internet increases, it has become ever more imperative that companies adapt. It is only in the past several years that companies have started to become more comfortable with online advertising. Yet, as companies are only just starting to take advantage of the internet and make their presence known, they have already received a massive backlash from web users who are not accustomed to this interference. One of the main areas of conflict between internet users and the newly interfering companies is YouTube, obviously. This is a rational place for these conflicts to start, considering YouTube is well, full of drama. But also, YouTube is one of the most popular websites on the internet, which means a large market of consumers for companies, and has plenty of videos to attach ads to, which means more ad space and thus more potential revenue for companies. But what is specifically ticking YouTubers off more than the relentless amount of ads is the fact that as the companies gain more influence in YouTube, the website is slowly becoming more revenue-centered rather than consumer-centered. The whole point of YouTube's creation in 2005 was so that anyone had the chance to easily distribute whatever they wanted to the rest of the world. It was meant to stimulate socialization and cross-cultural contact, and to encourage innovative creations and the spread of knowledge and ideas. But after only a year of running, YouTube was bought in October 2006 by Google, another large company. And since then, YouTube has slowly become more supportive of large companies and YouTubers while suppressing and ignoring the small YouTuber. No longer is YouTube a website solely for the average consumer to create content and to exercise freedom of speech, but instead a website for professional creators only, which is ridiculous in hindsight considering that the reason people flock to YouTube is to get away from other medias where the big creators already own everything. If people wanted to watch Jimmy Fallon play a drinking game with Daisy Ridley, then they would actually go watch a show on TV. Thus, most people don't want to go on YouTube and see that the first recommended video is of Jimmy Fallon. People love YouTube because they can go there to watch entertainment that is different than what they're used to in other medias. Instead of the entertainment on YouTube being made by businesses, it's made by other ordinary people. So the fact that YouTube is starting to transform into yet another video streaming service like Netflix is disheartening to many people. One of the biggest problems concerning this invasion of YouTube by giant companies is the hassle of copyright claims, which have caused so much commotion lately that many YouTubers are dedicating entire videos to bashing YouTube for its lack of organization and professionalism in dealing with the problem. The problem is that YouTube is not upholding its own rules in order to keep small YouTubers' videos protected from unfair treatment. YouTube has in place a 3-point copyright system where if someone deems a YouTuber's video as infringing on copyright, that person can put a copyright claim on that YouTuber's video. The reason the 3-point system is in place is to keep YouTubers' channels from getting shut down due to false copyright claims. If someone wrongfully claims that, for example, Super Carlin Brothers stole their content, YouTube is supposed to look into the case and determine whether the claim is valid or not. If copyright laws have indeed been broken by the YouTuber, then YouTube will give the channel a strike and remove the channel's video that breaks the law. Then, once a channel reaches 3 strikes, it is permanently deleted along with all of its content. However, if YouTube finds that a copyright claim is false, and that channel did not break any laws, then the channel does not receive any strikes. And you see, this is how the system should work, but YouTube is regrettably not upholding these simple rules. Instead, YouTube is being biased toward the copyright claimers while being overly harsh toward the YouTube channels being claimed against. In many recent cases, it seems that YouTube has been completely ignoring its 3-point system and deleting channels without warning to the owners due to any copyright claims the channels might have. Instead of checking first to make sure that the copyright claims are valid, YouTube has simply been shutting down channels and then leaving it up to the channel owners to prove that they did not break any laws. Furthermore, channel owners are only allowed to appeal to a copyright claim once, and if YouTube still finds the owner guilty the second time around, as it probably will since it's biased, then the owner cannot make any more appeals and the effects of the copyright claim are final, whether that means the channel loses its monetization feature or the whole channel is deleted. Not only is this guilty until proven innocent mentality unfair, but YouTube also has no rules put in place to penalize people for making multiple false claims. Thus, big companies have nothing to lose by claiming copyright infringement on every video they can, and this can benefit the companies in one of 2 ways. 1. If they claim copyright infringement on a video that criticizes their product, then that video could get deleted, which would mean that there's now less bad press on the internet about their product. Or 2. If they claim copyright infringement on videos that just happen to be about their product, then they can get the monetization rights for those videos, meaning that all the money that the channel owner should be making from the ads that play before his or her own video will be going to the companies that made the claim instead. One particular case where this happened that caused an uproar and also brought this copyright problem into the public eye was when I Hate Everything's YouTube channel was deleted. I Hate Everything is a comedian whose channel was made purely to criticize different aspects of pop culture that he despises. He talks about anything on his show, such as social media websites, new trends, people, holidays, movies, and more. All of his videos are simply commentaries and reviews of various things, which is perfectly legal under the Fair Use Clause, yet his account was deleted by YouTube without any explanation from the website as to why. Luckily, he was able to get his account back after a day due to the massive amount of complaints YouTube got from IHE's subscribers. What happened in this scenario that made everyone on YouTube start to get paranoid was the fact that IHE's channel was deleted without any warning, and then he couldn't even get a response from the YouTube staff except for some automated emails saying that his account had violated YouTube's community guidelines. The emails were vague, but from what he could gather, they basically said that his account had been deleted because 1, he was posting repetitious and unwanted videos on YouTube, and 2, someone had claimed that one of his videos had breached copyright law. The video in question was one where IHE videotaped different ways in which he could destroy copies of a terrible movie that he watched called The Little Panda Fighter. The video was in no way illegal, nor was the insulting claim that his videos were unwanted or repetitious true. What is most important to understand from this debacle is that if this could happen to I Hate Everything, who has 500,000 subscribers, or to any of the other channels that have already been penalized for false copyright claims, then the same thing could happen to practically any channel. It could happen to new channels who would not be able to fight back since they're so small, and it could happen to major channels, effectively ruining the lives of the people whose careers are to make videos for YouTube. In both cases, YouTube would be suppressing people's right to free speech, which is terrifying considering that there is no other major video playing website that content creators could go to in order to display their videos. YouTube is slowly changing one step at a time so that it has more control over what content it displays, which is basically making it more like another TV station or streaming service rather than a global video sharing service. Not only does YouTube's disregard for people's creative rights and freedom of speech indicate a change in its philosophy and structure, but there are many other developments occurring as well, which further show YouTube's intentions for change. First and most obvious is the fact that YouTube already has a recommended tab that displays at the top of the website every time someone visits it, which is just another way for YouTube to control visitors and convince them to watch already popular channels that make YouTube money rather than smaller channels that could use the views. But there is another, even more recent development that YouTube has implemented that could prove more detrimental in the long run than anything else: YouTube Red. This is a new service provided by YouTube where exclusive content is shown from famous YouTubers, but people who get this service must pay a monthly fee. This is, on a minor scale, exactly what Hulu, Netflix, and Amazon Prime are: subscription-based services that provide video content. And if YouTube continues down this path of suppressing free speech and only supporting the channels and businesses that bring in the cash, then this YouTube Red could take over the entire website. In the near future, YouTube may become an entirely subscription-based website where all content must be paid for and there's no longer any room for the average person to create content. The internet is a marvelous invention and probably the most important piece of technology invented thus far. The reason the internet is so important is not because of its complexity, cheapness, or even efficiency, but for a reason much more personal than that. Since the conception of technology made for entertainment, such as the gramophone, radio, and TV, all of said technologies have been one-way streets, meaning that there is never any way for the average person to be involved. All of the mediums created by these technologies were only set up to allow for the creators, i.e. businesses, to deliver entertainment to the passive consumers, i.e. the average citizen. Radios only played sounds for the listener to hear, and TV only played videos for viewers to see. Never before has a technology allowed for consumers to be involved too, yet the internet is different because it allows the consumer to interact back. The internet allows for people on it to consume entertainment others create, but it just as easily allows people on it to create entertainment for others to consume. The internet creates a level playing field where big businesses and the average citizen can come together to provide content. And this is a new phenomenon that should not be taken for granted. If popular places on the internet, such as YouTube, are allowed to be taken over by big businesses and turned into one-way streets, then there may be no turning back, and the ordinary person will lose this immense freedom that he or she currently enjoys. I Hate Everything, Channel Awesome, Eli the Computer Guy, and all others who have been affected by YouTube's changing attitudes represent the fight that the common person is starting to make as businesses become more involved in the internet. And while businesses have the right to create content and use the internet as well, they do not have the right to invade the internet, monopolize it, and stop regular people from using it to create. As John Story writes in Cultural Theory and Popular Culture, the power of the consumer derives from the failure of producers to predict what will sell, meaning that average people deserve to have a voice on the internet. This is because as much as companies may try to control everything in order to make profits, the people know what they want better than anyone else. Thus, they should have the right to go on the internet just like the companies and create the content that they want to consume. The internet is where this cat and mouse game needs to end. Instead of businesses taking over the medium and using it as much as they can to advertise to the public, both businesses and people need to share the web, and by doing that, both can continue to freely create content in peace. So yeah, that's what I have to say about YouTube. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and please leave a comment below letting me know whether you agree with me or whether you think I'm just paranoid. But please leave a like below if you like this video, and also make sure to tell your friends about how awesome and informative my videos are. But the only thing is, please do not subscribe. Please, don't do it. Alright, and see ya. May the Force live long and prosper with you.